Hi, it's Jared from Strongroots Farm. Today we're back and we're going to talk about chicken feed and egg production. From time to time we like to do tests on our farm. And there has been a product out there shown by other YouTubers, homesteaders, farming channels that has to do with your chickens. And my guess is that they did not go and purchase this product. They went and it was given to them by the company. And so they're doing these reviews on these things. So I'd never seen anybody that actually said, yeah, I purchased this. This is what I use for my chickens all the time. But it was something that was very curious to me. And today we're gonna talk about it. And that is Grub Terra. Okay, so these are dried soldier flies, basically, grub worms, things like that. Is it really worth it? Are they a gimmick? Do they really help? Is it just something that people are pushing because the company is either paying them or giving it to them? Today, I've got some numbers. We did a study, we measured our eggs, we did a few things. I wanna go over it. Is it a scam? So we're all about truth, but it has to be productive as far as the numbers. This little bag, this 1 pound bag, is $19.99. Can it really help your farm and make it worth it? Stick around, we're gonna find out. All right, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Grub Terra, and I do apologize. The bag is kind of dirty because we had this out in our chicken coop. We have been testing this for 2 months now, okay? So I want to go over some of the things and be fair to this company of what they are claiming their product will do. So I've seen YouTubers claim other things that Grub Terra are not claiming, but what does Grub Terra actually say on their packaging and on their website that this will help your chickens with? So as I look into it, the main thing they're saying is healthier feathers and stronger eggs. That is the main claims they're making here on their package and on their website, mainly due to the calcium, okay? So this is a calcium intake product, basically. Same thing, calcium is the same thing as in your oyster shells. If you buy feed that has oyster shell in it, or if you feed your chickens oyster shell like we do, it is a good source of grit as well as calcium. And so we didn't even need this because we constantly feed, we constantly have a separate feeder with ground oyster shell that we get from our local mill. But I was really, intrigued by this. It also has some other things in it though that our oyster shell does not. So I will try to show it to you here on the video. So it has some crude protein, 34% minimum crude protein, the package says. It's got fat and fiber, of course the calcium, and then a little bit of phosphorus and ash in this. But basically, I was really encouraged by this because it is a natural product. They are taking, you can see them, it smells kind of like peanuts to me, but they are dried worms essentially is what it looks like to me, dried larvae. And as I check out the Grub Terra website, there are multiple different products, but we got the black soldier fly larva. And so that's what we tested throughout this test. Now let's go over what we did in this test. So for any good scientific test, you have to have a lot of constants. Everything needs to be the same, and you're really trying to test one change or one element. So to go through our constants, same chickens, same coop, around the same temperature. So we did this, and I'll explain how we did the timing, but we're in the winter. This started the middle of January and ended the middle of March. So we're coming into the cold weather and starting to come out of it now in the beginning of spring. We had the same feed. So we feed in an organic pellet feed that has a good nutrient balance. So I liked that. It was all measured out and stuff. We do have the oyster shell in one feeder, and then we have another feeder that is ground chicken feed from our local feed mill. So it's got corn and soy and some other things in it, the mineral pack. Our local feed mill makes this, and they're putting everything into a grinder, but it's not necessarily tested like in a manufacturing facility on these pellets. So it's not as accurate of a feed, but I've noticed they prefer the natural ground feed from our feed mill over the organic pellets. So same living environment, same temperature, water, everything else was the same chickens, same feed. The only thing we did, the only change was that we added Grub Terra. And so for a rooster and 10 hens, we did 1 handful a day in a black pan. And so we would go out every day, we would collect eggs. In the evening, we would take a handful of this and throw it in. The handful was somewhere around a half a cup of measurement, okay? I didn't even research at the beginning of this how much they recommended per bird, but it seemed to be a good amount. It was enough to get them to go into the to the pan. They obviously enjoyed it. Once they figured out what it was, they would come running to it, and they would clean it up over about an hour and a half period throughout the time as we were watching them. But that's what we were giving them every day of the Grub Terra. Now, I will let you know that Grub Terra sent us this package. they're not paying me. It's not a sponsored video. They just sent me this to try to see if I would like it. And that's a good situation for us. We like those kind of situations from vendors, because then I can say whatever I want to say. I owe them absolutely nothing. But I do want to be very clear. This package was given to me, and when they reached out, it was like an aha moment for us, because I had been wanting to try this out. I just hadn't bit the bullet and paid 20 bucks yet. When they said, hey, try it out, now I can go through and say, is it worth it or is it not? Fair to Grub Terra, I want to tell you, I believe this is a healthy product. I believe it is a high quality product. The package was very well sealed. It has a like a Ziploc baggie kind of strip in it, so you can seal it back. We actually stuck this just up in the rafter of the chicken coop while it was out there. I was very happy with it. I was tempted to try it myself. It was a natural product. It smelled like peanuts. It looked clean. I did not do that, but I was tempted. And so before we get into the data, I want to tell you that I was happy with this product, number one. And number two, I do see some value in this product for several other things than they are claiming on their package. One would be chicken training. So if you are coop training chicks or chickens into your coop and you're having a hard time to get them to go up in there at night with the door, you could use this. You could put a pan up in the coop, shake the bag. And I did the same thing, kind of the Freudian method, where I would go in, I would shake it, I would make the same sound, I would flop the pan, I would take and throw it down in the same spot. And immediately by the second night, they knew what it was. And when they saw me grab this package, I didn't even have to shake it. By the third or fourth night, they came running. So I would believe this would be, if I had trouble coop training, which I have in the past, I would definitely use this product for that. Another thing to use this product for, kind of more on the homestead level, if your chickens are more your pets than they are really a production animal for you. So you keep chickens longer than the average, 2.5 years, because they're just your hens and they're in your yard, and your grandkids come out and want to be around the chickens. This is a great product for you as far as, environmental for your farm. You can throw them out. You have friends come over, your chicks get used to this. Their kids have never been around chickens perhaps. You put some of these out, the chickens come running. It doesn't matter who the kids are. Every one of my kids fed, my wife fed, I fed. It did not matter who the person was. The chickens really enjoyed these. So if this is kind of an environmental thing for you, or a hospitality thing, whatever it would be, this is another great product for that. You could throw some of these out as treats, and the chickens, I promise you, will come running, and your guests of whatever sort would be able to be petting them or be close to them, depending on how comfortable your chickens are with people. All right, now let's get into some numbers. And so here is what we did. We collected eggs every day like we always do. And we were very diligent about writing them down on the calendar. Each day we got this many eggs. We did that for 2.5 weeks until we got to a start of a Monday, and we were writing them down and calculating. Then we put a line in the sand basically, and we started feeding the Grub Terra every day. Before we started feeding Grub Terra, we did a few other things with our eggs, because they are claiming tougher shells. We took a picture of our birds because they're claiming better feathers. And our birds are pretty healthy. We don't have unhealthy birds, but it is winter time. So we looked at our chickens. We looked at our eggs. Are our eggs soft? Were they cracking easily? Were we having trouble with our eggs? We were not, but we kind of wanted to test how hard the eggs were. we took pictures of the egg itself in a bowl when it was cracked. What was the color of the yolk like? Is it going to change? This is a natural, worm essentially. Is it going to make these eggs oranger, the yolk itself? Just like when we graze in the spring and they can, forage for worms a little bit more, our eggs darken up a little bit, the yolks do. Was this product going to do that? So we did all those kind of things, observing our birds, observing our eggs prior to giving the Grub Terra. Then for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, we started throwing that 1 hand a day until this package was empty, recording those eggs. Now, if I only did this point, I would say this test is a flop because we were going further and further into spring. So it would be natural that the egg production would go up. But what we did is we stopped using it and continue calculating the eggs and the quality. So the real test of any improvement project, whether that be continuous improvement around your farm or anything like that, or any good scientific test, is if there is an improvement, can you turn it off and turn it back on again? It's like a switch. If you do this, it gets better. If you don't do this, it gets worse. That will be the root cause of better eggs, better egg production, whatever the case would be due to the one element you are testing. So now we went a few more weeks, calculated our egg production again. No other elements changed. The weather until this week remained about the same. Highs and lows were about the same moisture levels. We were having problems with ice and snow. We were having problems with rain at times. In every window prior, during Grub Terra, and after Grub Terra, we had all of the same weather conditions. But I will admit that the light was getting longer, which is a factor on eggs. Now, we had a light. So our birds are on a timer light so that the sunlight timing of longer days would not affect the light as much. So our birds had the exact same amount of light during the day throughout this whole test as well. But I will admit that that mediation of more light will change your egg production. So here is what we found. We started our journey off, we were getting 4-ish eggs a day. We calculated it out and got our baseline in the beginning. We started feeding Grub Terra the very first week. We had 1 extra egg the very first week. We did not notice a difference in color of yolk. We did not notice a difference in quality of shell the very first week. By the second week, we had started getting rain instead of snow and a little bit of different light. And our egg production, the second week, we got an extra 5 eggs that week in a week-long span. And we thought, okay, is it due to weather or is it due to the Grub Terra? We continued to watch. The egg production went up, and I did notice that the yolk got a hair bit darker, but there wasn't snow on the ground. So we had some snow in piles still, but we had some melting, and it kind of went back and forth. So I thought, well, maybe there's some bugs as well. Let's continue to watch. But by week 3, we noticed an increase in our egg production, and we had snow again. The weather turned again, it got cold, we got 2 more inches of snow, back to the same situation we were prior, and the egg production stayed high. So we ran out of Grub Terra at this point, and we went back to our original everything the same as the pre-tests. Our eggs, the very first week of that, stayed about the same as they were with the Grub Terra, and then they slowly started to decline. Not a lot, but just a little. Like we had 3 less eggs this week than we did the week prior. Here we are 3 weeks after Grub Terra has been gone, and this is what we noticed. We noticed that as we started Grub Terra, our egg production went up, not very much the first week, but by week 2 into week 3, we were a significant around 10% increase on our egg production. Our yolks were slightly darker, but really hard, unless I had some kind of a color spectrum reader. It was really hard to tell because our birds were pretty healthy. We did notice an increase in quality of feathers. My rooster in particular, he started to kind of slick off and shine like our cattle do. But the rest of the birds, they were just full. But no, we didn't have any sick or, featherless birds or any problems with any birds prior to this because we have very healthy birds. As far as the shell goes, it might have been slightly better, but really not noticeable. I think that is due to the fact of our quality of feed prior to Grub Terra and the fact that we have oyster shell to them 100% of the time. So the calcium intake, it would have been a little higher, and I did notice the usage of oyster shell in our coop was less. But because we've always had that, there wasn't a significant notice of difference on the eggshell quality. Finally, as we got out of Grub Terra and we started to get weeks away from when they had it, just over a week actually, we noticed a decrease in egg production. Not much. It never fell back to where it was prior, back to the initial 3 weeks without Grub Terra. It never fell back to that. Our weather is warmer now. It's actually 50-some degrees outside today. We've got them on a new patch of grass. We do move them about once a week. But our egg production went down slightly, about 3 eggs per week on 10 hens. So overall, here is going to be my conclusion. I believe that the Grub Terra helped our birds come out of the winter funk. They were literally half the production that we were in November, October, as we were coming in from the fall. I know that my birds will produce more as we get longer days, warmer weather, more bugs. I know our yolks will darken up because I've been doing this long enough to know that. But I do believe, after the study, that Grub Terra increased the production of eggs in my birds, or at least helped to bring them out of that winter funk with the nutrition of this product. I do believe that if you have a problem with your eggshells, your chickens are not getting enough calcium, that this product will help that. But with our oyster shell, it was not a very significant difference for us. And I do believe that if we continued to use this on a daily basis, we would see a slight increase in production with our birds, a slight increase in health or feathers if we needed that. But at that point, 3 eggs on 10 hens in a week, is it worth it? If you think about, okay, a dozen eggs is $7 now, or whatever you're selling your eggs for, how many eggs do you have to get to pay for a $20 package of Grub Terra? It lasted us about 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks. I think a couple days short of 3 weeks. So calculate that out for yourself and see if it would be worth it to you. What will we do? Because that's really the conclusion. What am I going to do? Am I going to buy more of this? And the answer is no. I'm not going to buy more of this right now. We're coming into spring. We have healthy birds. And so I don't really need this right now. But will I buy it next year? It's a high possibility. I will definitely think, okay, if my birds start to have feather issues, if it's getting really cold and their nutrition looks to go down, this will be a product that I will confidently purchase for my homestead, for my farm here. I will use this again to bring birds out of that winter funk, out of that molt, out of that slow period because of the weather. This will help to increase their protein and their calcium and all of those things that will help to get them back up and moving again, back up and producing a higher number. So I don't owe this company anything, but I'll be buying another package of this next winter. So there you have it. I want to thank Grub Terra for sending it to us. I think it's a very high quality product. I do like it. It is on the expensive side when you are looking at the return on investment for production if you have healthy birds and you have good feed. Now, feed is expensive as well, okay? So whether that be an organic feed that we're buying or oyster shell, it all has a cost, and this is just another cost of a type of feed. So I was very happy with this product. I think you can confidently go purchase this. You can buy it online. You can buy it at Amazon. You can buy it at most feed mills. I'm now seeing this carried. So I would reach out either to the company via their website and order some, or try this if you're intrigued by this video. Put an Amazon link to make it easier for you, but please buy this wherever is best for you, but there is a link down in the description if that would help you out in your farm. I was excited about this product, and I don't feel like I was disappointed. It did not, make some of the claims that I've heard some other YouTubers mention that it's done for them, but it was still a very good product, and I'm very happy with the quality. Thanks for watching. There you have it. Please like and subscribe. Follow along with us. We will have more things like this on our farm. Our predominant animal is cattle. We are a cattle farm, cattle ranch, if that's what you want to call it. We do have pigs and chickens here. We raise our local meat and supply meat to people, and we have some pasture tests going on. We have some fencing videos coming up, and we have a solar light improvement video coming up where we bought these barn solar lights, and they just come with some kind of rinky-dink hardware, and I'm gonna fix that. So those videos are all coming up. Stick with us, follow along. Thanks for watching. Until next time.